On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about The New Black from Strapping Young Lad, an album from 2006, so it's not really very new anymore.
It's not really new. It's 13 years.
There have been newer blacks that have been made.
There have been.
Like Vanta Black. It's much, much darker.
It's very black.
Absorbs like 99% of light.
It's hard to look at sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird.
I can look at this album.
I can look at this one too. We're going to do that. Hello, everyone. I paused for a super long time.
That was uncomfortably long.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
And we're two professional broadcasters. We love heavy metal, and we like to talk about it. So today we're going to be talking about The New Black. It's an album from Strapping Young Lad, also known as the Devin Townsend Project version 1.
Or Hevvy D and the Boys.
Hevvy D and the Boys. Yep. We're going to be talking about that. First, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I'm losing my voice. I don't know why.
Well, you're at the pool, maybe yelling at your kids. I don't know.
I was. Yeah, we were yelling and jumping and running and sliding.
Jumping and slide. Yeah, there's a slide at that pool.
There are 3 slides.
3 slides.
Well, actually 4. Technically 4 slides. In the kiddie pool, there's a slide.
Oh,
I didn't go down that one.
Yeah. And then there's 2 like short slides
right.
in the deeper part of the pool, and then there's the big water slide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You used to have to pay per ride on the big slide.
Really?
Back when I was a kid, you had to get a little bracelet, and they would clip it.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
But they don't do that anymore?
No, now you just pay $4 and get in.
Okay. Yeah, you just get into the pool. And you don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah, it's been, I guess, a pretty slow week.
It has been, kind of.
There's not really been much else happening.
No.
In my life. Yeah, I haven't. I guess I did a remote on Saturday.
Yeah?
There was a music festival. Well, not really a festival. It was a 2-date...
a dance.
Yeah.
It was essentially a dance.
There were 2 concerts.
Mm-hmm.
2 concerts of 3 different bands. One band was both nights. And
was the Gooch both nights, or?
Yeah, Mr. King of the Freudian slip here. There was a band.
Dr. Geach or
no,
something like
Captain Geach.
Yeah.
They're sort of a grunge revival band and probably grunge covers and whatnot. Instead of saying Captain Geach, I did say Captain Gooch one time.
Which is the perineum.
Yes, the perineum,
terms.
or the taint, if you will.
Captain Taint.
So yeah, Mr. Captain Freudian Slip messed up his fellow captain's name. But
that's fun.
Yeah, the remote went well. I'm not sure how the second concert date went. I think it was a lot bigger than the first night.
Now you did Friday, and then
Quinn did Friday.
And
I
you
did Saturday. And Friday was apparently a little slow, but Saturday I imagine was much better because it was Saturday.
Sure.
But yeah, that's kind of what I did with my weekend. Other than that, I've got Ren Fair coming up quicker and quicker.
Right. And it's been in the news that they canceled the one in North Dakota.
Yeah.
That you were going to go to.
Yeah, that I can't remember precisely what happened, but yeah, they canceled that. So still got Minneapolis, Shakopee one, so I'm going to go there with a bunch of friends and hopefully have a good time. I can't imagine I won't have a good time.
Is that next month?
I mean, technically speaking, yes. We're going on Memorial Day.
Ah.
I think it's been going on for a little while already. Okay. I think it starts maybe mid-July.
Oh, really? So it goes a long time.
Oh, yeah. I believe the Minnesota Ren Fest is, I think, the longest running Ren Fest in the country as far as, like,
length itself.
Yeah, how many days it's open every summer. I think they are the longest one.
You know, I've never been to a Renaissance festival. Never been.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And there's a lot... For a big nerd like me, it's kind of dangerous because, first of all, there's a lot of alcohol. So I will drink a lot of that alcohol. And then I will see, ooh, shiny.
Next, $200 later.
Last year, it was much more than that. Last year, I
shit.
think it was far closer to I don't even want to say. I have relatives who listen to this. They know most of what I bought, but I didn't necessarily give them prices on what they were. But yeah, I bought a big fuck off axe last year, and
is that what it's called? Is that the technical term?
No, the technical term is Dane axe.
Dane axe.
It's just because it was used by Danish people.
Oh, I was gonna say that sounds like some sort of a allergy medication.
I'm taking Dane axe for this. It's working fairly well.
Making me kind of drowsy, but
it's making me feel like I want to chop my fucking head off. Dane axe.
Dane axe.
Side effects may include a desire to be decapitated,
explosive diarrhea, blindness, and death.
And the explosive diarrhea actually happens upon death.
Sure, exactly.
But yeah, no, I bought a big Dane axe, which was first used by the Danes and probably just Norse people in general.
Sure.
And then after the Vikings were like, hey, we're going to fight everybody. People were like, wow, this whole big axe thing is a decent idea. And so then like everybody started using Dane axes. And basically any battle axe that you see from a later period is almost certainly derived in one way or another from the Dane axe.
Nice.
But yeah, I got one of those because I'm obsessed with very large weapons.
Sure.
And yeah, this year I'm probably going to buy a sword, like a Viking sword, I imagine. So hopefully I find one that's not particularly expensive, as far as, you know, it's not going to be, you know, $500.
Are those sharpened when you get them, or no?
Not usually. I think maybe it depends on the shop. The axe that I got was not sharpened. I would probably have to take it somewhere to get it sharpened.
Hilarious. Take it down to the local cyclery. Say, hey, can you sharpen this big axe?
Yeah.
I got an axe to grind. No, literally.
I think that's one of those things that it's either you do it yourself or you have a friend that can do it for you. It's probably even better if you have a friend that is into that sort of thing.
I have a whetstone.
And who, well, it's a little too dull to sharpen on a whetstone.
It would take a while.
It would take probably a week to sharpen on a whetstone. I could probably find someone at the Hustfest who would do it for me, actually. Talk to one of the Viking reenactors there and say, hey, would you know how to or know someone who can sharpen my axe?
Yeah, because you'll cut yourself. You work with a dull axe. You don't want to cut yourself. Always have a sharpened blade.
So you don't cut yourself.
Right. So you don't cut yourself. That way it's you're making clean cuts, and you're not.
Oh, so you don't. Instead of cutting yourself, you simply chop the appendage off.
Sure. Exactly.
Much better. Yes. Far more preferable.
Way gooder. Definitely. Yeah.
Way more gooder.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably gonna go for a better sword than the $50 one I have hanging in my closet right now. But yeah, that's sort of what's coming up for me. You did something terrifying this weekend.
Yeah, I did. We talked about that last week. I I went to the top of our local senior center, which is 8 stories tall, and
it's a very big senior center.
Yeah, it is. Well, it houses more than seniors,
I suppose.
But yeah, and then I rappelled down the side of it for charity.
Wearing a bathrobe and your death metal Celine Dion t-shirt.
Yes, and my laser cat pajamas.
You were kitted out for some terrifying stunts. So yeah, you've told me it was the most afraid you've ever been in your life.
Yeah, pretty much. As soon as I was hanging my ass over the edge, thinking, well, you know what? It's like I said the last time. This is going to be interesting no matter what.
No matter what happens, it'll be an experience. Maybe the last one.
Maybe the last one. You know, if you're gonna go, you know,
might as well do it at a charity event.
So how did your dad die? Oh well, he was raising money for the YWCA and he fell off an 8-story building.
Wow, he must have been a very charitable person. What happened? Oh, shit just broke. They don't do the event anymore because he died.
Yeah.
So really, in the long run, it was a bad thing for the charity.
It was Dad's fault.
They had in the company, and for some reason the company didn't have liability, didn't have like a no liability clause, and so they actually ended up having to pay my family several $1 million.
That's my dad fucking it up for everybody.
And so now the YWCA in our town is completely fucked over.
There are homeless women and children on the streets now.
And they have nowhere to go.
All because my dad was a grease stain in the bathrobe.
Oh, God. But yeah, you made it to the bottom. You didn't. You didn't end up as a grease stain.
No,
you made
I did
it
not.
to the bottom, and you survived.
And it was too for the restraint thing. The thing I was hooked up to was too far out from the building.
You couldn't really repel.
I couldn't really repel. I swung down once, and then I lost my momentum, and then I'm sort of spinning, and then like just in midair as I'm kicking my legs. People
Meanwhile, our coworker who was emceeing the event at the bottom is going, "Don't spin, stop spinning. You don't want to spin."
Like I know I don't want to spin. I realize I don't want to spin. So then I had to sort of slowly go down the building,
kind of figure out how to get down. Yeah, that happened to one of our salespeople. She got stuck like 10, 15 feet
above the ground.
Above the ground, she got stuck and started spinning circles. I kind of wish I had been there. It sounded like it was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was. It was a good fun.
Yeah, it's just a good fun.
A good fun.
It was a good fun.
It was a good fun.
It wasn't good fun. It was a good fun.
It might have been the good fun.
The good fun.
It was the good fun.
It was the only good fun. There shall be no other good funs.
I'm all out of funds.
Hey, speaking of good fun, The New Black.
Yeah.
By I almost said the Devin Townsend Project.
No, by
Strapping Young Lad.
Right.
Which includes Devin Townsend and was basically his band.
Sure.
So if you don't know the story of Devin Townsend, we've talked about him a little bit previously with his collaboration album Casualties of Cool with Shay Amy Dorval.
Sure.
Talked about that back in March during our non-metal month. Mm-hmm. This, of course, is certainly metal.
Yes.
And
he was the singer for
Steve Vai.
Steve Vai, right.
Which is sort of where not the Devin Townsend. God damn, I'm going to keep on doing it. It's sort of where Strapping Young Lad kind of came from, is he sang with Steve Vai.
Right.
And then was so sort of dissatisfied and disillusioned with the music industry that he was like, fuck it, I'm just going to completely do my own thing. And sort of channeled his frustration into a solo album, which became Strapping Young Lad, as he
got some great musicians.
Yeah, accrued some great musicians to perform with him, and would keep on doing that. I believe he started in I want to say it was 93, maybe 95 is when Strapping Young Lad got started. Would continue for 10, 11 years until 2000. Well, or 12, 13 years possibly, until 2007, when they would call it quits after the final tour for the New Black. They would call it quits, and Strapping Young Lad has been no more ever since, because it was Devin's band, and Devin was like, I don't want to do this one anymore.
Right, and so he does his own thing, which is essentially just the same thing.
In a sense, especially as a continuation of the New Black.
Right.
As strapping as a continuation of Strapping Young Lad in general, not so much, because Strapping was much more intense and heavy and more rooted in extreme metal than I think any project he's done since, whether it's with... Because there is a difference between a solo Devin Townsend record and a Devin Townsend project record. Maybe not so much sonically, but at least organizationally, because there are now albums where it's like his newest one, Empath. That is a Devin Townsend solo album.
Yes,
that is not a Devin Townsend project. That is a solo album.
Well, it is a project of his.
It is it is a project,
but it's not the Devin Townsend project. God. But it is a Devin Townsend project,
and this is the most Devin Townsend thing he possibly could have done to us.
Yeah.
So his style, if you don't know much of anything about Devin Townsend, is basically trying to confound the listener with an assault of everything that sounds amazing. It's like Devin Townsend's music is like anti-grindcore. Like grindcore is an assault of things that should sound terrible, that work together in a sense where it's like, yeah, that's brutal as hell, but it also kind of sounds like someone threw a fork into a garbage disposal. Whereas the Devin Townsend project and everything else he's done is this massive, his trademark wall of sound that's just hitting you with
hundreds of layers of sound.
Hundreds of layers of awesomeness.
Yeah.
And it all sounds amazing and works really well, and it's all kind of done with a smirk. And I'm still trying to figure out whether or not that's annoying.
You know, the new album, to me, it struck me as heavy metal show tunes. It's kind of what it sounds like to me. It's like this is on Broadway, and people paid several $100s for a ticket, and they're wearing a tie and suit.
And he would laugh at all of that.
Absolutely.
He's like his tongue is so firmly planted in his cheek, and I think it would be annoying if he weren't such a genuine guy.
Right.
Like he seems like a person who is very genuine about his love for creating music. It's just his outlet is whatever he wants to do. And isn't that the dream?
Sure.
For anybody to be successful doing only exactly what you want to be doing,
right? More
or less. And especially since he started doing Devin Townsend Project and his solo work exclusively, I feel like that's the sort of realm he's been living in, of just I'm going to produce my own, do all my own stuff. And he's continued to have critical and commercial success with it, and it's like that's awesome. That's amazing.
Indeed.
But it would be easy to be almost off-put by how nonchalant he seems to be about the whole thing, and he's a very interesting guy.
Yeah. Did you see the video on how he layers his vocals? I got about halfway through it, and I had a headache.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't go any further because
so many
layers. So intricate. Yeah.
Yes, it's really intricate. And the thing is like, you would think, you see any other artist like, oh, all these layers and all these effects and all this processing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, can you do that live? Well, he can, because he's genuinely an amazing singer.
Right.
But then he also, puts the time in to make sure he can have those effects and those processing, or at least a slightly pared down version of that attached to his microphone while he's at concerts. So he can, I think Devin Townsend is maybe the artist that in his live work that I've listened to can most accurately achieve album quality sound out of a live show.
Yeah, and instead of doing a whole bunch of layers on his own, he just hires a full gigantic choir.
He'll hire an actual fucking choir. Or he could just have Annika van Giersbergen with him, and no one will need to look at Devin. They can just look at her.
Yeah.
Oh, Annika. But we've talked about Annika van Giersbergen before. Yes. She's not on this album. This was before they started collaborating.
Right.
There are some features on this album, though, featured artists. The one that I was most excited about when I was like, oh, that's definitely someone different. Who is that? And then I looked at the song list and it was like, featuring Odorous Motherfucking Arungus.
Yep.
On Far Beyond Metal. That made me so happy.
May he rest in flames.
That's the way he would want it.
Yeah.
Shooting fireworks and blood out of his weird alien cock. If you don't know who we're talking about, Odorous Arungus was the stage name of the lead singer of Gwar. Gwar is is Gwar American or are they Canadian?
I think they're American. I want to say they're American.
At any rate, they are kind of a less of a band and more of an art project.
Right.
Throughout the entirety of their history, they've performed exclusively wearing big, elaborate costumes of alien gladiators. That is what their music is about. They frequently,
I believe, originally constructed from foam couch cushions.
Yeah, and just shit like that. Because they all met at like an art school.
Sure.
And so they had people around them that could make this stuff for them. And then they were, in the music side of the art school. And we're like, we're going to make this band. You guys are going to make the costumes. And they started doing all that sort of thing. And so now they have these big, elaborate, latex pieces as their stage gear. And it's nuts. I actually have seen Gwar.
Really?
They were at a Warped Tour the last year that I went for some reason.
Did you know they were going to be there?
Yes, I knew they were going to be there. I didn't know I was going to get to see them necessarily because I wasn't like going to Warped Tour intending to see Gwar. I was going to mostly see other bands, but then I was watching Carnifex and their current lead singer, because this was long after Odorous had passed away,
right?
Came out with a big chainsaw prop and pretended to cut Scotty and Lewis in half. And that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then when they were on stage, they, of course, did the guar thing and started spraying all sorts of
blood and different
fluids out into the audience. And I think they decapitated effigies of both Trump and Hillary. This was 2016.
So they killed all the candidates.
I think they had effigies of at least Trump and Hillary and decapitated them. That was the one that spewed the most blood, I think, is they cut this puppet of Trump wide open. It's just spraying blood over the crowd for just minutes and minutes. And it was towards the end of the day, but there were a few more shows that I went to. And then when I was standing with my friends and we were sort of waiting to regroup and then waiting for our Uber to take us to our hotel room, we could see people walk by and it's like, yep, they were at Guar.
Covered in blood.
Covered in dried, dyed, whatever.
I can only imagine in the boardroom at the shoe company there. No, seriously. No, get this. Here's what's going to happen at our sponsored tour. All right, okay. They're going to cut open.
I mean, it's Vans. I don't think Vans gives a shit.
No.
They know that Vans knows their demographic.
They know their demo.
Yeah.
They'll buy $60 shoes and...
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I can't imagine they were going, we're going to make sure that Guar does this.
No.
They were probably just like, hey, people have requested Guar, and Guar is available. Let's just have Guar be on the tour.
Okay.
And they were just like, yeah, hell yeah, let's have Guar on the tour. Introduce these fucking sickly looking white kids to some classic fucking Alien Gladiator metal.
I know you kids weren't born yet, but let me tell you. This is how we did it back in the 90s.
I mean, Kevin Lyman was definitely of that, or is definitely of that generation. He was already, in his 30s or 40s when he started Warped Tour in the early 90s. So, yeah, I think it was appropriate anyway. It was wonderful. I wasn't in the crowd because I didn't want to get sprayed with blood and gore and everything.
Why?
Because I had.
When are we going to have this opportunity again to be sprayed with blood by Guar?
I didn't know. There might yet be an opportunity. It's not like Guar has stopped touring, but I thought to myself at the very least is like, yeah, I have to go back to a hotel room and be in there with 5 other people that have not done this.
Okay.
Because I knew none of them would have been interested in Guar. And I was only slightly interested in Guar anyway.
Right. See, this would have been what I would have done is I would have got the brunt of it, and then got back to the hotel, burst into the lobby, and gone, "They're dead! They're all dead!"
See, but this was a hotel that was right outside the gates of Canterbury Park, so I don't think anyone would have reacted. They would have been like, "Yeah, this kid's been in the sun too long."
Yeah. Plus, you're the 7th person through the door with that shit on you.
Yeah, exactly. I stand correct. Or I will correct myself. By the way, it was 2017, not 2016.
Also, it was after the election.
It was after the election, but I think they still had Hillary up there anyway.
Sure.
But yeah, because 2017 was the last year that I went, because the last year of the full tour that I wasn't able to go was last summer.
Right.
So anyhow,
the New Black
back on track.
Who else is on the album? There's a bunch of guests.
Biff Naked from there's
sure.
What do you recognize the name?
Yes.
What band is she from again? I looked at it, but I can't remember.
It's slipping my mind. Biff Naked.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm blind anymore.
I'll see if I can. Biff Naked.
Oh, yeah, she just kind of does her own thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, she just does her own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's Canadian. She's from Winnipeg.
Right, which is a cheap game for pirates.
Her, you can win a peg. Arr. Can't I just get that, Captain? I need it.
No, you have to win it. We've got a lot of people on this ship that need pegs.
Now hop on over here.
I don't know why I'm talking like Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob.
Is Clancy Brown here? Why do we always go back to SpongeBob?
I don't know.
Anyway, the other feature is Cam Croce, who that's a name I don't recognize. They are on You Suck.
Right. Which I love that song.
Yeah, You Suck is definitely... Because, like, so much of these are... I'll just read the song titles for you, the listener, and, like, this will kind of show you how seriously Devin takes himself. Decimator.
Sure.
You Suck. Anti-Product. Monument. That one's not too bad.
But then...
Wrong Side. Hope. Far Beyond Metal. Fucker. Almost Again. Polyphony. And The New Black.
Right. The title track follows, kind of brings up the rear.
Yeah. So it's... Yeah, he's very, very tongue-in-cheek. And this is a very heavy album. By the way, if we want to lead into the segment, does it slap?
Yeah, it slaps.
Yeah, this fucking slaps in many different ways too. There's so many elements of so many different genres. It's like you can hear a passage and go, oh, like that's a little death metal right there. This is a little thrashy. This is it is everything but shred. In the sense, because Devin Townsend has kind of gone on record where he doesn't care for guitar solos.
Although there's some good solos in here.
Yeah, the main one that I can think of is Far Beyond Metal, but I think that's simply because that is a metal song about metal, and I don't think you could have a metal song
with no guitar solo.
With no guitar solo in it. But he's much more into just doing riffs and that sort of thing. He doesn't care to really overemphasize lead guitar.
He's good at it.
Yeah, he's good at it. He's an amazing guitarist, but he's just generally not very interested in showing off that part of his skill set.
Sure.
I think he's much more interested in the production and the overall writing and composition rather than this one specific part.
Wanking, as some would say.
Yeah, wanking, as some would say. Speaking of wanking, we did listen to the first 2.5 minutes of the new Tool song, or at least the single that Tool has put out.
Right, the title track from the new album.
Yeah, and the first 2.5 minutes are all just build up. So I don't know. I'm not very well versed in Tool, so I guess I can't comment too much on it. But
it was actually pretty Tool.
It was very Tool. Okay, is that next week or is that later this week or something when their new album drops? Somehow.
Or 13 years from now.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be released this week, but we lost the master copy.
So we redid the whole thing.
What if Tool is or like what if Fear Inoculum is basically Tool's The Man Who Killed Don Quixote? It's just like it's been in production hell for so long, and that movie actually came out though this year.
Eventually, yeah.
It's kind of a weird alignment. A new Tool album came out, and The Man Who Killed Don Quixote came out. So it's a miracle. Now we just need a surprise notification from System of a Down.
Sure.
Like, hey, we're actually getting our shit together. Yeah. Surprise, motherfuckers.
That's the name of the album.
That seems like a fairly so-ad thing to do.
System of a Down. Surprise, motherfuckers.
Surprise, motherfuckers. But yeah, this album, The New Black, slaps the shit out of you, I would say. I wasn't able to find a whole bunch of concrete scores, mostly because I forgot until you showed up. But generally favorable. There were a couple that were in the 75 range, but when you sort of get down to an out of 5 rating system, it gets a little iffy. It becomes a little bit less precise than maybe what you would have given it on a strict percentage scale. But I think, generally high 70s into the 80s, probably.
Yeah. 75, 80, somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I completely lost my place. What's your, what was your experience with Strapping Young Lad? How did you discover Strapping Young Lad?
I discovered Strapping Young Lad. There was a compilation CD that was put out that a friend of mine stole in a hotel lobby.
Okay. There are a lot of layers to this, to what you've just said.
Yeah.
So one, the biggest one.
Okay.
why was there a copy of this compilation album in this hotel lobby to be stolen?
Because it was on top of someone else's unattended luggage.
Okay.
Yeah. And he lifted it and a couple other things because he's a kleptomaniac.
Yeah. Do you have any idea who he stole it from? Was it
Nope.
Were you at like a concert thing?
We were at a concert.
Okay. It'd be weird if you're just in a random hotel and someone happened to have a Strapping Young Lad CD.
No, it wasn't Strapping. They had a song on this compilation.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember what record label it was that they were on at the time. That
I mean, it might have. Would it have been Century Media?
Yes, it was Century Media.
Okay.
It was a Century Media compilation disc. It had a whole bunch of crazy shit on it.
Oh yeah, because Century does a lot of death metal and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And it was on there, and eventually, of course, I came to really enjoy the sound of Hevvy Devvy, and then I went out and I bought this album when it came out in 2006.
Okay.
So yeah, and I listened to it a lot.
Is this the newest album you've brought?
Is this the newest album I've brought? It might be the newest album that I've brought.
I think it is. Yeah, I think this is the most current album that you've brought.
Yeah.
Usually you bring stuff from before I was born.
Usually. Well, I try to do that.
Yeah, no.
Kale's never heard this.
Yeah.
Let's make him listen to this.
And I appreciate it. I'm always trying to further my metal education. So yeah, I mean, I keep on losing my place tonight.
Are you all right? This is good beer, by the way.
This is very good beer. Got Souris River Brewing, brewed right here in the town of Minot, North Dakota. This is Brocken. Brocken. It's brackish. No, it's Bakken Brown Ale. It's got a big old bison paint. What was obviously originally a painting,
right?
That they have turned into a wrap.
Yeah,
on
this is
can.
a wrap. I'd like to know who. This is packaged by Souris River Brewing, Minot, North Dakota, and I wish the author had signed this.
Yeah.
So it's probably somebody local. I would imagine.
Well, it's possible that the part of the painting where they had signed is not
right
on the can.
Yeah, 'cause they probably didn't put the whole painting on here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a oil pump and a bison
and some wheat just laying around for some reason.
I mean, don't you just have wheat lying around? This is North Dakota. Everyone has wheat lying around.
There's a wheat floating in the river.
Yeah.
And the river is blue, so it's not the Souris River.
And it's probably not the Missouri either. It's not usually not very blue.
No.
They don't call it the Big Muddy for nothing.
Or
do they call the Mississippi the Big Muddy?
That's the Big Muddy. That's the Muddy River.
Okay.
Muddy, yeah.
They're both muddy.
That's where Muddy Waters got his name.
They're both muddy as shit.
They are. And yeah, so is the. I always thought the Souris River, when I first heard it, I thought it was Sewerus.
Sewerus?
The Souris River.
The Sewerus River. Are you all right, Kale? Are you just...
I don't know.
Are you having a day?
I'm doing well, and I'm fairly energetic tonight. You know, I don't feel too tired, but I keep on losing what I was going to say.
Losing focus.
Losing focus. Losing focus. Open your mind, Quaid.
Anywho. Favorite song on the album?
My favorite song on the album, I'm going to go with the title track.
The title track.
It reminds me most of the other Devin Townsend stuff that I've heard, which it made it more immediately familiar to me, yet it was still more visceral than a lot of the other stuff that I had heard from him, which is mostly off of like Epic Loud and Empath and
right.
Of course, Casualties of Cool, which is entirely different.
Yes.
But still similarities, but an entirely different style. But I appreciated that. I appreciated sort of the very kind of atmospheric ending to that, sort of the way it ends, and there's some female vocals. There's not a featured vocalist on there. It must have just been someone he hired.
Sure. Hired gun.
Yeah, a hired gun. Or maybe it was keyboard vocals. I don't know. That happens. You can get decent sounding keyboard vocals these days.
It's so weird.
You're gonna hear a lot of it for next week.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You're gonna hear a lot of that sort of stuff next week. But Yeah, I like the title track quite a bit. What's your favorite song?
The one that I've listened to the most is Almost Again. That's the one that really and Wrong Side is also really good. And I think the other one for obvious reasons is You Suck.
Yeah. You Suck is a lot of fun. I also did like Fucker. I thought Fucker was quite a fun song.
Yeah.
And more present sort of female vocals. There's something with Devin loves to collaborate with women. I feel like, and it's just like powerfully sung, but also just beautiful.
Right. Almost ethereal at times.
Ethereal female vocals just work so well with Devin Townsend's style.
Right.
Because that's how he likes to do his clean singing is this very of course the wall of sound and whatnot, so you can add a lot of reverb and stuff without it sounding out of place. You can make it so insanely buttery smooth that it's just like imagine listening to, like, maybe not this album, but imagine listening to. And I think we talked about this when we did Casualties of Cool, but imagine like listening to Casualties of Cool while you were like on DMT or something. Like that probably wouldn't be great actually for some parts on Casualties, because there's some fucking creepy ass shit on that album. But like he has such a it's psychedelic without actually being psychedelic in the sense where like you can imagine having a spiritual experience while listening to some of his records, if you don't pay too close attention to what he's saying, because it's usually ridiculous. But he's having so much fun, and I love him for it.
Remember, Loudwire actually gave him credit for having the most positive song on any metal album ever,
which is
"Live, Laugh, Love."
That's That's such a great title, too.
Yeah,
it was, and that wasn't sarcasm. Is the song actually positive?
The song is actually, he's actually saying, "Hey,
nice.
Be excellent to each other."
There is a song off of Ocean Machine, which was technically a project. It wasn't an album. It was a project he did called Ocean Machine.
It wasn't Ocean Machine's solo stuff. It was actually Ocean Machine's project.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that one is just called Life, and I really love that song. I listened to that a lot. I love listening to the live version, especially.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh God, he's so good live.
He's really, really good live. There is, and I think we talked about this a little before as well. There's actually a fun little YouTube rabbit hole you can go down of vocal teachers or singing instructors.
I love that,
reacting to Devin Townsend and losing their goddamn minds. Because I think one person did a Devin Townsend video, and then everyone else started doing Devin Townsend videos, or all of these people's viewers were like, you should listen to Devin Townsend. Here, listen to this one specifically. And it was, they lost their shit because he's an amazing singer. Devin Townsend is ridiculously talented. I cannot overstate that. I think he's really, really, really talented.
And as we discussed earlier, his look is better without the skullet.
Oh yeah. So when this album came out, this was peak skullet.
Peak skullet, yeah.
He when he was younger had very long flowing red hair. Luxurious red hair. And then as he got older, the hairline went further and further and further back, but he never cut the hair, and so he ended up with just hair around the rim of his scalp.
Yep.
And left it really long, and then had this long goatee.
Right.
And kept his hair that way because that became his trademark. He kept his style that way for quite some time, even though it was very unflattering, in my opinion, at least.
His rim job hair.
And if you've ever watched Metalocalypse, the original design for Pickles, the bassist, was like 100% Devin Townsend, to the point where I feel like if they would have kept it, Devin Townsend probably would have been like, hey,
guys,
look, I'm cool with this, but you could have at least asked to use my likeness. And it's interesting enough because Devin Townsend would make multiple guest appearances on Metalocalypse, doing guest voices and whatnot, along with tons of other people in the metal community.
Oh, of course.
But after he called it quits with Strapping Young Lad, he shaved off all his hair
and
the beard as well, and has looked much more dignified ever since. He's still kind of a goofy looking dude.
He is,
but he looks a lot more dignified these days than he once did.
If you're out there, you want to see goofy Devin Townsend, find the video early MTV of just after Steve Vai announced him as a singer. He basically loses his shit during the interview and does some crazy ass things.
Well, I think he's. It's been mentioned, I believe, that he has bipolar disorder. I believe that maybe is part of that. And he's had some mental health struggles, but I think he's one of those people that at least his stage presence suggests that he is either very good at hiding his issues or very good at dealing with them.
Right.
And he struggled with alcohol and with drugs for quite a while, and that was also a part of after he quit Strapping Young Lad. Is he stopped smoking, he stopped drinking, he quit doing drugs, and decided to figure out how to keep writing music without drugs of any sort. That was a big challenge for him, I guess, and it is for a lot of artists. Drugs can trigger creative parts of your mind, and you can come to rely on them, especially if your living relies on your creativity.
And sometimes your creativity is sort of blocked by certain anxieties, and a lot of times those drugs will wipe away the weird shit and leave the good weird shit.
Yeah, but it's dangerous, y'all.
It is. Stay in school.
Stay in school forever. Be one of those people that's in college for the rest of their life.
Don't do hard drugs.
Don't do hard drugs. Yeah.
I gotta put that qualifier in.
I'm good with that advice.
All right.
Don't do hard drugs.
Don't do hard drugs.
Do regular fun drugs.
Yeah. Ibuprofen.
That's a part of. I feel like it's a part of the human experience. We're taking part right now. Alcohol's a drug.
Oh, absolutely. You said that with a little bit of a slur. I don't know if you noticed.
We're taking part. Alcohol's a drug. I feel like on some level it is kind of a part of the human experience because it has been with us for as long as we've been able to say anything about, like, as long as humans have had a moment of time to experience some self-awareness and think about the universe. There has been alcohol, and there has been weird plants that they found on the ground and ate and went, whoa, this is weird. Like, that sort of shit has been around, tens of thousands of years. So it's I think it's part of humanity. That was a weird tangent about drugs and whatnot. That
was a weird pro-drug tangent.
Do drugs. Don't be afraid to screw your life up. Do all kinds of drugs right now, kids. Especially you children out there who are listening. Don't listen to your parents or the media.
Yeah. And you, Craig.
Yeah, Craig. Just fuck it up. Start doing meth, Craig. You said you've been having trouble sleeping, Craig? Well, you won't have trouble sleeping if you never sleep again.
Yeah, lean into it. Turn to the skid here.
Insomnia is for fucking posers.
Yeah, and teeth.
Insomnia and teeth are for posers. Start doing drugs right now. Never sleep again. I'm Cale Borner for the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I endorse this message. I'm Cale Borner for the Bronze Medalist Podcast, and I retract what I just said about doing drugs and all that. Basically the last 5 minutes. I retract that. It was all said in jest.
Yeah.
This is for my future presidential campaign.
You're still going to get some sort of a court order to appear.
A year from now.
A year from now.
Just like he was listening to you and you said this.
Yeah. And now Craig is dead.
Now Craig has died. I didn't even know who he was.
But we do.
Craig told his parents that you were his favorite podcast. Did you not consider the effect your words might have on your fans? Oh, God, what have I done?
Not even once, Cale.
Not even once. You reminded me with that. Before I get to that, we should do metal. What metal do we want to give this? Metal with a D.
Okay, I was gonna say this whole thing was about metal, wasn't it?
What do we want to give this? What do you want to give this?
I'm gonna give this a silver medal.
Okay.
It's almost a gold, but it's still it's a silver. It's in the silver range.
Yeah.
I enjoy it thoroughly, but
yeah, I tend to agree. I feel like it lacks a little seriousness, maybe a little how do you say, it's not genuineness. No. Is it genuineness?
Genuineness? Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. If it were music of this caliber, but with a slightly more serious take.
And it's a little bit all over the place.
It is a little bit all over the place, but that's Strapping Young Lad.
Sure, that's what you get.
It is what it is, but for me, I'm not going to give it a gold. But yeah, what I was going to be saying is you reminded me of when you said not even once. This is a sort of a long story, but essentially,
okay.
I came up with this. I could just pop it into Photoshop. It was a meme that I thought of, like years ago, where I could find there's a picture you can find on the internet of the band Job for a Cowboy.
Sure.
In the year 2005 when they were founded, and they're all wearing like polo shirts and have the most emo haircuts ever.
Sure.
And then there's a picture of them from 2012, and they're all like bulked out, tattoos, long hair, beards. And the caption would be death metal, not even once. But the news there was that Job for a Cowboy might be making a new album. Nice. They've been on hiatus for, I think, about 4 years now. Their last album came out in 2012, but they never quite said, like, hey, we're not going to do anything ever again. We've broken up. It's just they're involved in some side projects. Some of the members of the band are. But, yeah, they haven't done anything in a while, which is disappointing because I think they're a fantastic band. And I think when Sun Eater came out, it was kind of a very different stylistic choice for them. It was still death metal, but it leaned more progressive than they had done before, and it was a bit slower and a bit more thoughtful.
Nice.
So I'm excited to possibly hear more stuff from them coming soon.
I'm also excited. I don't know why I'd never heard of these guys before. They've been around for over a decade. Fargo band, Gorgatron.
Yeah.
We just sort of discovered them this. I don't know why. I've never heard them before. I guess
they're a pretty kick-ass death metal band.
They are
from Fargo. Check them out. They've got 2 albums on Spotify. It's a lot of fun. Gorgatron.
Yeah. They don't seem to take themselves completely seriously.
No,
which
they don't.
Which is great. Which feels just relaxed and
especially
great to listen to.
Especially when you're a death metal band from North Dakota.
Yeah.
If you take yourself a little too seriously, people are gonna be like, dude, come on, you're from Fargo, North Dakota. There's a certain size you have to grow to before you earn the right to take yourself super seriously.
Yeah, like I met my wife doing community theater, and we'd have those people in the theater that would say, "Oh, I can't work under these conditions," and you're like,
"Dude, you're in Minot.
You're at the old folks' home in Minot. People were playing bingo here an hour ago.
Yeah, like
fucking get over yourself.
Tone it the fuck down." Yeah, there were some people like when I worked summer theater for the summer. I wasn't acting, but even the people that were on the crew. Some of the people who were the drama queens were also actors.
Sure.
So they were under a lot of pressure because not only were they helping build the sets, but they also had to leave for an hour and then come back to do rehearsals after we were done building for the day.
Sure.
So there's a lot of pressure, but there was some definite moments of extreme drama queen behavior, and it was like, just tone it down. Okay, just tone it down a little bit.
Oh, I got a cramp. Oh, a cramp in my eyeballs from rolling them so hard.
At least I could just like put on my ear protection and saw something, chop something in half, and pretend it was those people. But
make sure you keep your blade sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to cut right through.
Right through, exactly.
Yep. So next week we're going to be talking about a brand new album, brand spanking new. It is called Melancholy. It's by an American deathcore / sort of symphonic death metal type band, technical death metal, you could call it. They're called Shadow of Intent.
They're all like your age.
Yeah, they're a bunch of young guys, and this album has gotten a serious amount of praise so far from critics. So I am very excited to be talking about it next week. I've listened to it already, and I've enjoyed it immensely. So we're going to be talking about that next week, and then once we start going in September, we'll be doing a non-metal month. So do you have any idea what you want your first non-metal month album to be?
I have some ideas, but I haven't landed on anything specific. I have actually a whole bunch of ideas.
Okay, well, we'll get there next week, I suppose. In the meantime, if you like what we do, you can check us out on Facebook and on Twitter.
Yeah,
we always post new episode links there. We're not gonna diversify to every social media. Those two are the only ones that I feel like really matters.
Do we post on Tumblr?
No, we don't post on Tumblr. I think I do have a Tumblr account, though.
Yeah, I do, and they sent me an email recently saying, are you going to keep using that name and password? Because you haven't logged in for over a decade.
Yeah, we are not on Tumblr.
Right.
I don't know if I actually know how to use Tumblr, really. No. So, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. We'll always post new episode links there. So if you're not, subscribed to us on iTunes or Libsyn
or Epson, or whatever,
then you'll get your notifications there. Please do subscribe to us on iTunes or Libsyn or, I was going to say or whatever you use, but those are the two.
You can get on YouTube
or YouTube. Yeah, you can subscribe to us there. But yeah, you'll always get new episodes. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. That's for you. All right. I think it's time. I think we're done.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, sure, you betcha.
Oh yeah.
Oh, those commercials are so terrible.
Oh yeah. That's
another thing.
That's a work thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations. Clank.
Clank.